myself up to Cloudsdale. A flock of friends flew me up held tight. Bass and the liquor were pounding till the daylight. Drunk in my brain like a meteor crescendo. Then they started chucking ponies out the window. One by one were thrown off and flew back up doing tricks. It happened fast and somehow I got tossed up in the mix. The ground came at me lightning quick. Got me crying, screaming and kinda sick. You were too drunk to notice or too loud to listen. And I guess my broken limb ain't worth the falling distance. Well, I guess I'll heal myself on the ground, 'cause my lack of fringes just seems to slow you down. You called out sorry and glad you didn't fight it. We'll glue your wings and jump and we'll see how you like it. If there's a race in life you'd win, I'll be here below the stratosphere as long as you're in it. Can't flutter for nothing, but they still gotta rise. I'd love to be flapping, instead it just happened, but it's just not happening. I'll never be fly like you. Fly like you. Fly like you.
Hi there, and welcome to Speaking Easy, the show where I speak easy. I'm not really sure what this is supposed to be, if it's like a podcast thing, or if it's, I don't know, just the Q&A, glorified Q&A, but either way, I felt like I wanted to do something like this, and it gives me an excuse to, actually, put out content on my channel. When I started streaming, I always said that I would make more, like, videos and stuff, but I really haven't, and so I figured, maybe we should do something like this. I like talking, and my community likes talking to me, so I figured, why not, do something like this? So I figured, well, let's give it a shot and see how it goes. In today's episode, I have collected a handful of questions from the community, mainly from one person, because this kind of was like a last minute idea. I was just, sitting around after stream, and I was like, maybe I should work on something. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to work on like a video or something like that. So I kind of put out, the request for questions like last minute. So I have a really good friend named Soph, and she is gonna basically provide a lot of the talking points this time around. But next time, hopefully, I'll have more questions from the community. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started and let's see how this fucking works out. So, our first question from Soph, she asks, what games have you been playing recently? And what games are you looking forward to in 2025? Well, if I'm quite honest, I haven't been playing a lot of games recently. Honestly, I think 2024, ironically enough, 2024 was the year that I did the least gaming out of like all my years in gaming, honestly. At least that's what it certainly felt like to me. I don't know. Maybe 2024 was kind of like the weak year for gaming. I know like earlier in 2024, I played hella Helldivers 2, like an egregious amount, but like I kind of fell off of it, especially during the controversies that they were having where, they would just nerf like your stuff for no reason. And I don't know, I got bored of it after a while as well. I felt like, there was definitely a lack of communication between or maybe not a lack of communication, but definitely there was a divergence between like what the devs wanted to do with the game and what the community wanted out of the game, because like the developers, I recall for a while that I was in their Discord. They were talking about the game has to be hard and whatever. And it's like, yeah, there should be a challenge and stuff, and there is, of course, the higher difficulties, but it's like, it just got so annoying how, you couldn't even, especially for some new enemy types that they introduced. Like, I think my breaking point personally was when they added the gunships to the game, because if you just didn't have, and this is one of the other reasons, like, it made me realize this point, but if you didn't have any form of like anti-tank weaponry, you just couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? Which, granted, like, Helldivers 1 had a kind of similar, mechanic and instance, but like, it got kind of ridiculous, where the game would spawn like legions of enemies, and it's like you would just die over and over. It was not fun at all. But yeah, I mean, besides Helldivers, which I honestly haven't even been playing recently. I think the last time I played Helldivers was last month in January. But outside of Helldivers, I guess the game I've been playing the most is VR chat, which is actually how I got the idea to do Speaking Easy, because I was just like, this is kind of fun. I had the idea, just make it happen. Outside of VR chat, let me think. Probably CS2. I know me and my friend group are playing lots of Counter-Strike 2, but if I'm quite honest, like, we fell off of that like 5 weeks ago, probably. So let me think what else. I've been playing a game called Atlas. Maybe you guys have seen it, but I've been playing a lot of Atlas recently. Not a lot of it, but just casually. It's one of the games I've launched. Ironically enough, outside of streaming, I actually don't really do a lot of gaming these days. And that's kind of been the trend since maybe August, I want to say, August of last year. Outside of, my streams, I actually don't really play very many games. And maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just me getting older. I kind of did mention it in my end of the year compilation video that, like, I certainly felt the spark of gaming kind of just, it was gone for me. And so I was like, that does kind of ring true. I mean, I don't really get invested in games like I used to when I was younger. And like I said, maybe that's me getting older. Maybe games just suck these days. But I don't want to say that, because like, that's like a boomer thing to say, like, back in my day games were good, it's like but like, I definitely don't enjoy games that are coming out these days. Like, for example, one game that some friends have been wanting to play with me recently is like Lethal Company. And it's like, I think Lethal Company is painfully mid. You know what I mean? Painfully. Stuff like that. It's like, I just don't like these one-note, multiplayer type games. They have like one thing, and that's kind of it. I don't know. I just don't enjoy it all that much anymore. Me personally. In terms of games that I'm looking forward to in 2025, I've got a handful of games on my radar. The first and foremost that comes to mind is Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4. And that's just because, for my channel anyways, Undertale and Deltarune were kind of the things that, like, gave me my audience. So I figured, and like, also, I just really like Undertale. It holds a very special place in my heart. I'm not saying that I think it's like, well, actually, I do think it is a goated game. It is definitely one of the greatest games of all time. I think so. Someone will crucify me for this, but I think that Undertale is really awesome. I even remember it came out my sophomore year of high school, and just like it was so influential to like my teenage years, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely Deltarune. I have that to thank for my audience, like, you know, guys like Oval and Deacon. They didn't come around till I played, you know, Undertale Yellow and Deltarune. Another game that's that I'm pretty excited for is definitely Elden Ring Night Rain. And that's just because I love Souls games. I absolutely love Souls games. But ironically enough, I don't like non-From Software Souls games. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I think the only non-From Software Souls game that I played and actually really enjoyed is a game called Lies of P. And that's because it was just really well made, and the graphics are beautiful on there. So, but yeah, Elden Ring Night Rain. I don't know. Honestly, I've told people this. I don't know how much I'm gonna like the whole, you know, roguelike element to this Souls-like game. It's just, I don't quite see myself liking that all that much. It's freaking, you know, a thing. But like, it's Elden Ring, so I'm gonna play it. I think I think Elden Ring is probably the Souls game I've played the most in recent times. So definitely looking forward to that one. And then, of course, another game on my radar is going to be Mecha Break. Love Mecha Break. This game came out of freaking nowhere. I played the playtest beta that came out like in July of 2024, and I absolutely love the game, dude. Oh my goodness! Like, and I've been dying for just like a god tier mech game. Like, yes, Armored Core Fires of Rubicon came out, right? And I did love it. It was good. It's just like the PvP wasn't there for it. Like, the multiplayer was not there for that. But like, I loved Armored Core. I just wasn't really behind the multiplayer aspect of it because it was very limited. You know, it's pretty much limited to just one-on-one duels. You know, which, like, that's how it's been for the most part. Or like, I think there was even a 2v2 mode, but I didn't even really mess with that all that much. And which sucks because I love Armored Core. But I guess I don't know, wasn't really feeling that game. So Mecha Break, though, that's definitely scratching that itch. I know, like, before then I was playing Gundam Battle Operation 2. But that was really because it was the only, like, Gundam mecha game that was out there. And some people will be like, you know, oh, you should play, what's it called? Mech Warrior. But I don't know. I don't think I'd like it too much. For the same reasons that I'm not too privy on Battle Operation 2. It just feels clunky to me. You know, and maybe that's because the mechs are slow. Because they're meant to feel like tanks. You know, you're riding this big old tank walker thing, but eh. Thought you might get hungry, so I made you some rations. Looks pretty good, right? Well, I hope you got something to eat. Anyways, let's see here. Our next question. Are you a fan of G5 ponies? No, I'm not. I can safely say that I'm not a fan of G5. Okay, look. If you've been on the internet, from anywhere between 2010 and 2015, you know about ponies. ponies were everywhere during that time. Pony crossovers, pony animations, pony music, pony art. It was everywhere. It took the internet by storm during that time. I think that was definitely like its high peak for sure. Ponies. Okay, let's talk about G5, right? Let's talk about G5. So, I didn't really enjoy G5 all that much at all. And like a lot of people, they, at least when it came to G5, right, they were not excited at the prospect whatsoever, because it was like, oh, it's just, a cash grab. And like the biggest thing was that they were changing the art style. It went from, all pony generations before then were animated in 2D, always was 2D. And like, Generation 4 was the only like significant different one, because G4 was tweened. I think that's the right term anyways, animation wise anyways. It was tweened, and so that means that, like it was digital puppets essentially. That's how that was animated. And so I'm just like, but it's always been 2D though, right? And I even remember my initial reaction when I saw that G5 was gonna be in 3D CGI. I was like, I don't know. Even like the designs of the ponies, they just didn't really like. I honestly, I think there are SFM pony models that are like way more pony than like the official models made by Hasbro, or whoever the fuck the company was that's behind ponies now. But yeah, no, like I don't know. I guess it was the art style that really put me off, but even then, I was willing to give it a chance. I wanted to give it a shot, and I really tried to like G5 ponies. I really did. I really freaking did. So, I watched basically everything there was to watch about G5, right? So, when it comes to G5, you've got 3 things. I don't have a gesture for... I can't use my 3 fingers. I can only use 2. But anyways, you have 3 things, right? You've got the movie, which is New Generation. You've got the 2D web show called Tell Your Tale. And then you've got the actual main show that G5 was supposed to be about, which is Make Your Mark, right? So the movie, I thought was it was good. It was a good watch, I thought, and it gave me a lot of confidence for G5. I wouldn't say that the plot was anything to write home about, but like then again, you look back at MLP, like even Friendship is Magic, and it's like the plots in that were engaging, but like not anything to write home about, right? But the movie looked fantastic. It was animated very good. The models looked great. I quite liked it. That besides all the shoehorning in of like the fucking Zoomer Gen Alpha crap, like for example, like, oh, ponies have social media and phones and shit now. But yeah, that's a thing, I guess, now, that they really fucking focused on for whatever reason. And I think outside of those things that I really didn't like, I thought it was solid. It had catchy songs that I still listen to this freaking day. It had the characters were pretty decent and likable, I'd say. And again, the animation was pretty good. I'm not going to say that I dislike 3D CGI, right? But like, I'm very picky about it. And so I thought the movie was actually like pretty good. Yeah. And then there's freaking Tell Your Tale, right? And Tell Your Tale is like, so again, it's like it's a web show, right? And it's very bite-sized. So like each episode is only like 5 minutes, and you can watch all of Tell Your Tale on YouTube. It's all on YouTube, right? And it's just like, again, really bite-sized, really short short episodes. I think each episode's only like 5 minutes, something like that. And it's like, it's fun, you know, it's easy to watch. It's very digestible, and that's what it has going for it, Tell Your Tale. But it's just kind of like a fun little side thing, really. And I don't even know if it's actually like canon per se, but like it's there. Tell Your Tale was all right. It's in 2D. It's tweened like in G4. It's just in the G5 like art style, right? But it's all tweened. It's all 2D, and it looks good. It's not bad. It's competently made. It's good. It's good. You know what I mean? And then there's freaking Make Your Mark, and it sucks. It sucks. So Make Your Mark is in 3D as well, 3D CGI, and like again, I had confidence because the movie was fantastic. The movie was good, but G5, you know, Make Your Mark sucks. It I don't know. I mean, and it makes sense. It makes sense, you know, when you look back at it, because of course it was gonna suck. It's the movie is high production, high budget. It's a movie, you know what I mean? So like they obviously took more time, more care and everything, and then you have Make Your Mark, and it's like it looks like they use the same models from the movie, but with like different, like it's got different shaders, I guess. I'm not sure. It just doesn't look as good as the movie, you know? And that's because, you know, it's supposed to be episodic. You know, they're trying to pump out an episode more frequently than they do a movie, right? I just didn't like it. For some reason, the characters just die. Their personalities and stuff, everything that was like built up in the movie, just, I don't know. The characters didn't feel as good as they did in the movie. And they're kind of stagnant, really. There's not anything going on. They have kind of this plot where, oh, you know, Twilight is back and all this other stuff, and it was like nostalgia baiting, really, honestly. But yeah, no, I did not like G5. I don't think I care for it very much at all. And like it sucks because like I love ponies, you know what I mean? I guess when I first got onto the internet, you know what I mean, ponies were like my whole personality. All the content that I have, my profiles, you know, pre-2012 were all like pony based, you know what I mean? And MLP is really what got me into the internet, you know what I mean? Because before then, like, I'd use the internet very casually, like, fucking, I'd watch Lego stuff on YouTube. I'd play like Flash games on Cartoon Network.com and shit, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't, like, the internet was just this thing, you know? It was just like another game for me. But like MLP was really what kind of got me into like online community, and it was the first online community fandom, if you will, that I really got into, you know? Like, I guess there were other communities, like, for example, like Homestuck then, but I never even engaged with that community though, you know what I mean? I guess I was a part of it, part of the fandom, but I wasn't like in the community. I didn't want to talk to anybody online about Homestuck, you know what I mean? But Ponies was completely different. I made so many of my first online friends that I ever made were from the MLP community. All of them are gone now, by the way. But like, it was just like this experience, you know what I mean? And so it kind of sucks to see Ponies reduced to this G5 slop, you know what I mean? And I'm not bagging anybody for like liking it, you know what I mean? I guess it's just not for me, you know? And that just sucks because, like I said, I love ponies, and G4 will always have a special place in my heart. Friendship is Magic is just magic, you know? Like, my very first OCs, for example, they were ponies. This guy was my very first pony OC. That's all you'll ever see of him. And then I have this guy now, which was my second ever pony OC, and he's way better. This guy's name's Caramel, by the way. Absolutely love it. Love him, you know. And I was talking about role-playing earlier, right? Well, My Little Pony was how I got into text roleplay, believe it or not. The very first roleplay communities that I was in were all pony based, And so, like, it's very special to me, you know? And it kind of sucks. I really wish that I had, like, you know, pony friends, I guess, you know what I mean? Because the thing with me is that when it comes to fandoms and online communities, I don't really partake, because I don't know, especially these days, I just have so little social bandwidth, is what I like to call it, right? I don't really like to talk to people all that much. I don't know, you know, at least I have a hard time finding people that are worthwhile, people that, like, are actually worth a damn to me, you know what I mean? to like be really, really good friends like that, you know? So it's like, yeah, I'll talk to people, but it's like a one-note thing most of the time, you know? So, but yeah, no, ponies are just so very special to me, and it sucks. It sucks that G5 sucks, because I really wanted it to be good. I thought it was going to be like a sort of second coming of ponies or something, but not really. It just kind of was there and died, is what happened. I heard that they're talking potentially about a G6 or something, but, like, who cares at this point? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on MLP G5. But Friendship is Magic will always have. It'll always be here. And our second question from Soph is, do you like Enna, and what web series do you enjoy in general? Well, yes, I absolutely love Enna. I just think it's really quirky and funny, and it's got a really unique style to it, you know what I mean? I think what I am more excited, though, about, and I guess I probably should have put this in the last one, but I guess that question reminded me just now, but I am pretty excited for Enna BBQ. And that's basically a game that takes place in this, like, Enna-verse, I guess. But yeah, no, I absolutely love it. It's pretty good, pretty damn good. I'd say it's probably one of the top web series out there. Other web series that do come to mind, I guess, first and foremost, would be Fox in Space, made by Frederick Fox. This show is just, I love it. So it's a parody of Star Fox, right? Except it takes a much more, like, darker and, like, serious tone. Absolutely love it, and you should go watch it right now. You watching this video, go watch Fox in Space. It's on YouTube, and there's 2 episodes out right now. So the creator, Frederick Fox, he makes it all by himself, for the most part. A lot of the voice acting roles are delegated to other people, but he also does a lot of the voices himself. He voices both protagonists, Wolf and Fox, and he, like, and that's just amazing to me. Like, that genuinely does, like, just make me go wow, because that's an insane level of range, I think, that he has. And so, yeah, no, it's fantastic. I mean, naturally, it takes him forever to get an episode out. I mean, Fox in Space episode 1 came out in, like, 2016, something like that. I was still in high school when he was making Fox in Space episode 2. And by the time episode 2 did come out, I was, like, in my last year of my military contract. So, or, like, close to the end of it anyways. So, yeah, like, I just absolutely love it. I wait with bated breath to, sink my teeth into more of Fox in Space, because I do love it. Like, I think out of all the web series that I know of, Fox in Space is top for me, personally. Another one that does come to mind is Punked Pooch, and that's a really, I don't know, what really allures me to it is the art style. I really enjoy just the colors, the thick line art that they have. Yeah, I mean, the premise of that is that it's a band of furry dogs that play. So not much to write about there. Then again, there's only like the pilot that's out right now, so who knows how further that show will develop. But yeah, no, that's a pretty good one that I would be interested in watching. Have no idea where it's at though, or what the story is on an episode 1 or a franchise or a series. But these sorts of like indie animations do take hella time. I mean, Has-Been Hotel, just look at that one. That's, you can't really talk about web series without talking about Has-Been Hotel, which is kind of like this poster child for every animator's dream is to do what Vivian did. And like, push out a pilot and then get picked up by some mega corporation and then be able to do an entire series, And I guess also speaking of Has-Been Hotel, there's Hell of a Boss. Both of those series, like, I do like for kind of the same reasons that I like Punk Pooch, and it's because of the style, the art style, and the animation. It's done very well, very competently, though I guess these days it doesn't really count. It's not quite fair, and you can't really call it indie either. But I would say it started off like that. Because like if you look at the pilot, the Has-Been Hotel pilot, and then you look at the actual first season, like you can tell, like, yeah, there's some big corporate type shit, you know what I mean? There's a lot of money behind this. So I would say the main thing that I don't like about Has-Been Hotel, and I'm gonna sound like everybody else here, but like it's the writing, really. I don't really like the writing. It's not its strongest point in my opinion at all. I think out of the two, I definitely prefer watching Has-Been though. One, because it's free. You can just watch it on YouTube. And then two, because I don't know, ironically enough, I like the characters in Has-Been more than in or not, the other way around. Dyslexia. But I like the characters more in Hell of a Boss than I do in Has-Been Hotel. Like Moxie and Millie. Oof, I wish I had their love, I love Stolas, etc., etc. But again, it's like the writing that really holds it down, in my opinion. I don't really like the writing. But yeah, so that's, I guess. Wait. Another one that just came to mind is Rough Danger Dogs is what it's called, and it's a stop motion. That's the style. It's in stop motion. And it's like superhero dogs, basically they have powers and stuff. I think episode 1 is out. Would really recommend, and that's just because like stop motion I love stop motion. Stop motion is really good. Probably up there in my favorite animation styles, to be honest. But yeah, no, Rough Danger Dogs is pretty good. So, but yeah, Enna, absolutely love Enna. It's really good. So our next question is, will you ever make reviews of games and stuff? That's a good one. That is a really good one. Hold on, let me take a sip here. My drink. I won't let you guys know what I'm drinking. Anyways, so will I ever make reviews, or like reviews of anything? So, plain and simple, no. Probably not. And it's for two very simple reasons. Money and time. So the thing is that, like, if I were to become a dedicated, like, game reviewer, right? Like, I'm thinking someone like, Angry Joe, for example. Like, that's literally what he does. His whole thing is making reviews. I think I wouldn't want to spend that much money on games. Because, like, the thing is, like, as a reviewer, you're doing game reviews, right? You have to get the latest games. You have to keep track of what games are coming out for the fiscal year and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't want to spend that much money on games. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't want to spend money or that much money on video games. Like, I don't know, dude. I have a mortgage. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta, I have to, have things to pay. And kind of like I mentioned in the first question, like, quite honestly, video games aren't that big of a hobby for me anymore. And again, I don't know if I just like grew out of it or anything, but so yeah, like, first it's just the money thing, and then secondly, it's also like time, right? Because like, I have a job, and like that takes up a good chunk of my day every day for the most part. And like, I would have to kind of wager, do I want to play this game that just came out, that I just bought, and play it in depth so I can make a good review of it, right? Or do I want to do something else? You know what I mean? And it's like, as a reviewer as well, it's like you're on the time here, right? Because like, you gotta push out that review week of, or at least very close to when the game came out, because like, you release a review, even if it is competently made and et cetera, by then, like, say a month down the line, right? No one cares anymore, right? So it's like, you kind of, it would put me in a position where I'd have to be like, on this game's ass, you know what I mean? And it's like, honestly, I suck at making videos anyways. I mean, look at this fucking video, right? So I don't even think like the editing or anything on there would even look any good. So yeah, I just don't want to spend the money, and I don't want to spend the time potentially on a game that I potentially wouldn't enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, these days, I'm really picky about games. Like, I don't pick up something unless it genuinely interests me. Like, I'm sure you guys have this thing where your friend group or whatever, right? They find some game, right? And they all pick it up, right? And then they go to you, they're like, hey, you, viewer, you should pick up this game. This game is really fun, and we're all playing it. And then in like 2 fucking days, they just drop it, and then they never pick it up ever again. You know what I mean? And it's like, my friend group does that a lot, by the way. Well, maybe not so much anymore, but they certainly used to do it a lot. And like, my rule is just like, if I look at this game, yeah, my rule is I look at this game, right? And if it doesn't interest me, if I sit there and I look at the gameplay and I look at, how it plays and whatever, and I don't say, yeah, I would play this by myself, like I could sink hours into this, then I won't buy it. You know what I mean? Just cut and dry. And like, even if you were to buy me the game, I still wouldn't play it, because if it just doesn't interest me, it doesn't, and I don't give a shit if you spent money on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, because I some of my friends have told me how, like, oh, my friend bought me the game, so I have to play it now, and it's like, okay, sure, but like, we're adults, you know what I mean? And they made the choice to get you the game, even though they knew it didn't interest you. So fuck on, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, like, I don't think I could ever be a reviewer for the most part. I suck at writing scripts. I do 90% of everything, like when it comes to like video content, just completely without a script. I just go for it, you know what I mean? I don't really ever, I suck at it. I think I'd suck at it, genuinely. And then also just the time, you know what I mean? To give a good review on something, I would have to really sink in some time into this game. And it's like, new games come out like every month, you know what I mean? And I know, especially like for this year, there's like a good 70% of the games that are coming out this year I have no interest in. Absolutely. Like in the first question, I kind of, those 3 games are the only ones that are on my radar. Everything else that's coming out this year is like, I don't really give a shit, you know what I mean? And like End Up BBQ, for example, that game's free, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to spend any money on it. I'm not too worried, you know? And so that brings us to, here's a funny one. Our next question, which I lumped both these questions in here. Rox says, thoughts on Carmelita Fox? And then I decided to mesh that in with first furry crush. I mean, I guess I am a furry, aren't I? Right? I would be lying if I said that I didn't have any furry crushes. I guess my first furry crush... So honestly, it is a competition between Carmelita Fox and Crystal from Star Fox. Thoughts on Carmelita Fox? Like, what do I think of her? I think she's really cool. You know what I mean? I mean, outside the fact that she's, you know, sexy, but like, I don't know. She's really cool. Latina Fox, you know what I mean? Which, you know, that that plays some strings with me. I don't know. I think her design is pretty neat. It's iconic, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's what I think about her. She is up there in the list, but definitely like my first furry crush ever definitely goes to Crystal. I think that's the case for a lot of people, actually. A good chunk of like, you know, furries, or at least furry gamers. But like, if we're going out the realm of games and just like furry crush in general, right? I mean, Tigress from Kung Fu Panda, Maid Marian, Diane Foxington, you know what I mean? I think at least those 3, for me, they're up there for me. I quite like those ladies. And I guess on the contrast, you know, this might shock some people, but I actually am not a big fan of Judy Hopps or Luna from Has Been Hotel. I don't know, like, I think Judy is just kind of, she's kind of bland. I don't know, she didn't really strike strings with me. And Luna, kind of same deal, kind of just one note in my opinion, which is kind of, you know, it's kind of ironic because, I like Maid Marian, but like, come on, it's Robin Hood. Like, maybe it's the style in which she was drawn, and it pulls some sort of nostalgia factor. I guess all of them do, really, like Crystal and Carmelita Fox, right? But I don't know. I just think Luna and Judy Hopps are kind of one note, while these other characters are a bit more complex. Now, naturally, it would be so because, you know, these are video game characters and you can interact with them and whatever to a limited extent, I suppose. But like, you can immerse yourself in that world. Let me think. Any recent ones though, like really recent? I would say Rivet? No, not really. I thought Rivet was kind of one note, I suppose. And in, you know, Rift Apart, she's not... There's no romance. Do you guys remember in, like, games before, like, 2013? Like, especially action platformers like Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter, for example. The main character would always have this sort of, like, love interest type deal, you know? Like, they'd always put in this, like, female character just to be, like, a love interest type deal. And it's like, I think the biggest offender of this is, not saying that, like, love interests can be bad or are bad, but they certainly can be. And the greatest offender of it is freaking Spyro. with Ember. No, not Ember. It's Cinder. No, I've got that backwards. It's Cinder. Ember? The pink one. The pink dragon. Like, she literally loves Spyro, just is absolutely infatuated with Spyro for no reason. For absolutely no freaking reason. She's just all over Spyro. And, like, you have, like, 2 conversations with her, and she's like, I love you, Spyro, you know what I mean? It's like, for what? What did I do? You know what I mean? It's, Cinder. The purple one, right? I forget he's spaghetti. But, it's... Is it Ember or Cinder? I think it's Ember. Anyways, the purple one. They actually really did flesh her out. The issue is that in the game that she premieres in, it was really rushed, but there was definitely much more substance there than with the pink one. So, but yeah, in terms of my furry crushes though, Crystal's always gonna have like a warm spot for me. Carmelita, yeah, I'd say. Now, ironically enough, though, I actually have never played through Sly Cooper, and I was actually thinking of doing that on stream, like playing through Sly Cooper just blind, because I've never played it. Oh man, but the issue with that is that, like, I'd have to get an Elgato, because I do have my old PS3 just sitting around, right? But like my old Elgato, or my old PS3, like, I don't know, I'd have to buy an Elgato. I'd have to. I think that's it, actually. I just have to get an Elgato and a copy of Sly for my PS3, so I don't know. We'll see. I do want to play it, though. Just for Carmelita Fox, if I'm being completely honest. But, I mean, the game does look fun, though. But, yeah, that's the ironic part of that. Yeah, I guess those are the only peeps that really come to mind, at least right now, that I'm on the spot for it. Jake asks, can anyone beat Goku? Yes. Sailor Moon can. And I know that because I watched the death battle between them. I mean, okay, this is a dumb question, but yes, Sailor Moon can beat freaking Goku. Like, to summarize, basically, like, in her anime, it's shown that Sailor Moon can just, like, freaking destroy universes and shit, like, casually. And, like, Goku hasn't done such feats like that, as far as I know, anyways. But yeah, no, there are definitely characters out there that can beat Goku, and Sailor Moon's one of them. But yeah, no, like, I don't think Goku's ever done anything crazy like what Sailor Moon does, so. A lot of people say that Saitama can beat Goku. Saitama from One Punch Man. I don't think so. Saitama hasn't done some of the crazy stuff that Goku has done. So, but yeah, no, there are definitely peeps out there that can eat Goku. So. So, our next question is, you talk about roleplay in your streams sometimes. So, what other OCs do you have besides Mitts? Well, that's it's a bit of a can of worms. So, like, in order to talk about my OCs, I have to kind of get some context, right? So, a good chunk of my OCs exist in a sci-fi setting that I've made with my friends over the years. It's called Oscar Bellum, which is just Latin for Star Wars, because that's what it is. Really, we can come up with a better name, you know. But yeah, so I guess the best analog to it would be like Warhammer 40k. Like, you can basically think it's Warhammer. Specifically, all of my OCs They are a part of a faction that I created called the Coronian Empire, right? And here's the shitty flag that I made for it forever ago. I've had the same flag design for a long time. I've had it for like, I think I came up with it in, let me think here. I came up with it like in 2020 or so, 2021, because this flag anyways. And I've just kept it like that ever since. But yeah, so most of my OCs are a part of this faction here. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them exist there. So I guess first and foremost, and probably my favorite, she was kind of my face on the internet before I changed to Mitzving, and that's Cypher. So Cypher, she is this, she's a freaking cyborg, man, you know what I mean? You guys ever seen Ghost in the Shell? So that's basically the whole concept behind her. She was a person, like, okay, I'll just give you a rundown on her basic story, right? Oh, well, actually, before I do, let's rewind the clock. Let's rewind it, right? So, back to the factions, right? The Coronian Empire, right? So, this faction is a nation, an empire of freaking foxes and dogs. It's a despotic and terrible fucking country, right? Not in the sense that they're like poor, but in the sense that they're freaking imperialists and like genocidal maniacs, you know what I mean? Especially the emperor and his Elysiarchs and whatever. So like within the empire you have tons of imperial factions, right? You have all of the great houses of the High Lords. You have the Elysiarchs who are at the top, right? And the Elysiarchs, they are basically like descendants of a god called the Golden Fox, you know what I mean? So like, and only the only one who can become emperor is a descendant of the Golden Fox, which are all the Elysiarchs, right? So that's kind of how they maintain control. Outside the fact that they are literally like demigods, you know what I mean? They maintain control by, just being kind of barring anyone from being able to be in the position that they are, you know what I mean? By like birthright, right? So, and like I said, that birthright isn't just like some title, it actually has tangible effect, because the descendants of the Golden Fox, which is displayed on the flag here, or at least that's his image, you know what I mean, is these, 7 Elysiarch houses, right? And the way that that takes shape is in their powers, you know what I mean? Because in this setting, magic and psionics is real, and these people, because they are descendants of the Golden Fox, right, they have incredible amounts of psionics. Like it's like they can steal your soul, and not just your soul, they could take an entire planet's worth of souls with the snap of their fingers. They're just grossly overpowered, and the Emperor even more so, because he is an ascendant form of the Elysiarchs, right? They worship a star in their home solar system, and that star is the corpse of a living god. Well, it's a corpse of a god from the past, you know what I mean? But yeah, so and then there's various imperial factions. There's the Imperial Navy, the Imperial Army, there's the Great Houses, like I said, the Elysiarchs, which are at the top. There's the Sistership of Selsunda, which are like these it's this cult that, they worship the Elysiarchs. They see them as gods. They have a lot of lore behind them, but that's basically their whole gist. And then there's the Death Watch, for example, which, for all intents and purposes, is literally just the Astartes from Warhammer, because I really wanted my own version of the Astartes, you know what I mean? But anyways, so now let's actually talk about my OCs that I have outside of Mitzving. So there's General Cypher. She is a general in the Imperial Army. She's special though because she is a transorganic, right? And what that is basically somebody who put their brain in a computer, but not like physically, right? They didn't just like physically take your brain out and put it in a robot, right? No, what they did was they translated the oh gosh, how am I gonna explain this? You guys are probably bored, aren't you? Anyways, but they translated the electrical impulses of your brain into quantum data, fed that into a computer, and created a AI algorithm essentially that mimics you, right? And like I mentioned Ghosts in the Shell, right? And that's because like one of my favorite things about sci-fi is like transhumanist themes, right? So like the idea that like, you know, can this robot be a person, right? Like if they act and feel like a person, are they a person, right? Are they alive? Or are they still just a machine? What qualifies as life, right? What qualifies as life? Do you ever think about that? But I love that question just in general. And so that's what Cypher is. She in specific was one of the first generations of transorganics. And the reason why she was chosen was because she was just a really good fucking soldier. She was a commander. She led the Coronians in various different wars and stuff. And when she did inevitably bite the bullet, the Emperor was like, nah, you're not dying. I'm gonna find a way to bring you back so you can keep doing crazy shit for us. And he did with the transorganic program, or the Casper system, as they say. As I say, I came up with that. But anyways, so yeah, they translated whatever was left of her brain, because the way that she died was she exploded, so there wasn't much of her left. But they scooped up whatever there was left, and then, you know, they scanned it, and, you know, they created an AI program algorithm that mimics who she was, right? And so, and again, it's the transhumanist themes, right? Like, is transorganic Cypher, is that really Cypher, right? Cypher from when she was alive? Or is it just an algorithm mimicking Cypher, right? And the thing is, like, this algorithm, right, this program that she is now, right, it's not like it's stagnant, right? And it's not like what data was fed to her, the personality of Cypher that was fed to this algorithm, right? It's not like it's stagnant, right? As she goes and learns about the world, right, and fights and meets people, you know, she changes and adapts, right? Just like a person would. She's dynamic, right? The program just does what Cypher would do, you know? And that's what makes transorganics very powerful in the Empire. There's also the fact that they can't die. I forgot to mention that. They don't die. If you do destroy it, because their bodies, once you go full transorganic, right, you're just code is what you are, right? When you become transorganic in the Empire, you're just code, right? So you could go anywhere, theoretically, right? Cypher, she can be in a organic body that was grown in a test tube, right? They implant some sort of chip in its skull, and then she can just download herself into the chip and, you know, puppet the body like it's a puppet, basically. Or she can put herself in an android body, a robot body, right, and pilot it the same way, right? She's just code, you know? And there are organics who were still alive, right, and are still alive, and they did that willingly. Like, they didn't have to die first. They wanted to kind of upload themselves into this digital space. And there's a whole population of Coronians, which the Coronians are my space foxes, right? But there's a whole population of Coronians that I call net dwellers, right, who they got just tired of being in their meat bodies for whatever reason, right? And so they paid some company or joined some incentive of some, you know, imperial institution, and uploaded themselves into the transorganic net, which is called Casper again. But anyways, so again, then therein lies the question, right? Is this whole population of people, right, who were born just like you and me, right? Are they no longer people because they're just data now, right? Like in the most literal and purest sense, they're just data now, you know? Is a machine that's born from this algorithm, right? Is a personality born from this algorithm? Are they, you know, people? So that's Cypher. I love writing. Anyways, next up would be Emperor Belos Arter. He is the 77th emperor of the Coronian Empire. Just look at this guy. He's pretty neat, ain't he? But he, I would say what makes him special is the fact that he destroyed the Coronians' long-lasting rival, the United Commonwealth, right? And it's a tragic story. I took a lot of inspiration from Anakin Skywalker when I was making him, but in essence, there's this other species called the Nerithians, right? And for a while, the Empire and the Commonwealth, they were friends. Belos was raised by the leader of their religion. Her name is Zarya. And so she was kind of like a mother to him, really. What she quite literally was. She raised him. And it wasn't because like he didn't have a mother, but it was just like a political agreement that like, oh, you know, princes of the Empire would go to the Commonwealth to be trained to use their psionics, because the United Commonwealth had some of the best scions in the galaxy at the time, right? So, but anyways, whenever Belos ascended, he got visions from, you know, the dead god that they all worship, and the dead god was like, yeah, you have to kill the Nerithians, dude. You have to kill them all. Kill them all, dude. But it basically told them stuff along the lines of like, there will finally be peace in the galaxy, yada yada. So he was convinced and led this huge crusade and campaign against the Nerithians and killed them all. Then he killed his surrogate mom in the process, for peace and prosperity in the galaxy. He's very cruel. He's not a nice guy. Just look at that face. And then, okay, well, another one of my OCs is Aaron Steele, right? So Aaron is a griffin. His style is definitely from My Little Pony. But I came up with him like 4 years ago. It was like 2021, I want to say. It was like around the time that I made Mitzvah. But I just really enjoyed griffins. I like griffins from My Little Pony, to be quite frank. So what he is this spacefaring bounty hunter. He's cruel. He doesn't take, he doesn't care what the job is as long as you pay him, right? That's what he is. He's a mercenary through and through. And he's probably the simplest out of all the OCs that I have, but that's basically his basic gist. The motif with him is that every story that he's in, he always dies in the end, because karma always gets to him, no matter what. So, but yeah, that's some of my OCs. Next question is, what's your favorite Mass Effect game? Are you a trilogy purist, or do you accept Andromeda? And are you excited for the next Mass Effect game? So now we're getting serious. Now we're actually talking. I see. Now we're actually talking about stuff. So, I have to say this outright. Just outright. Mass Effect is like the pinnacle of a like sci-fi space opera, in my opinion. In terms of like a video game space opera, right? Like I I love Mass Effect. I absolutely love Mass Effect, right? So I have to say that first and foremost. Like, if you're not big, or if you like sci-fi space genres, right? Sci-fi operas, right? The best video game for that is going to be Mass Effect. And now I'll say that the music's freaking kind of loud here. Yeah, baby, one cut of this, one cut. Anyways, so now I'll say that yes, I am a trilogy purist all the way through. I don't really like any of the Mass Effect like side content or any of that. Like if it's not like in Mass Effect, the games, then I don't care. And then also I don't like Andromeda. There we go. Yeah, I don't really like Andromeda a lot. My favorite Mass Effect game, I mean, I love them all. I absolutely love them all. Like the trilogy is good. But my favorite, if I had to pick from the three, 2. Mass Effect 2. And Mass Effect 3 comes in close. Very, very close. Oh gosh, like, where do I even start? So, I think the reason why I would pick Mass Effect 2 over 3 is because 2 is just like a complete story. It's like, and it's written so well. It's got so many characters. It introduces a lot of the iconic characters of the franchise. It's just awesome. It's just hands down the best, I think. It's very well written. Unlike 3 wasn't rushed. It ties up everything so good by the end. And just prepares you for 3. But 3 is just, I can't ignore the merits of 3. Now, the thing with 3 is that everyone hated the ending, right? Everyone absolutely hated the ending. I didn't think it was too bad. Like, don't get me wrong, it did kind of upset me that, like, all of my choices throughout the entire series was essentially just dumbed down to, like, pick your favorite color. you get 3 colors. Three. Can I do this gesture? No, I can only open my entire palm. Whatever. Pick 3 colors, right? Pick your favorite out of the 3. But like the thing with Mass Effect 3 is that it made me feel like I was in the middle of a galactic war with gosh, like you could just, I'm very passionate about it, but yeah, in the middle of a galactic war with just actual weight and stakes, and because it's like in 3 especially, like your teammates can die. You know, these people that you've formed and learned and grown with, they can die in 3. They can die in 2 too, but like in 3 more so as a culmination of all your choices. You know what I mean? I have never had a moment in a game like I did in Mass Effect 3 where, so just a quick rundown, right? Basically there are these 2 species called the Quarians and the Geth, right? The Quarians created the Geth to be their servants. The Geth became sentient and rebelled against the Quarians, right? But the Geth only did so because the Quarians wanted to shut them down once they found out that they were that smart, right? And they've been kind of just the enemy of the galaxy for the longest time. But they're a victim of that prejudice, of that, again, that transhuman topic of like, can robots be alive? Right? But so in the last game, it wraps up that arc by having you take control of Rannoch again, or trying to help the Quarians retake Rannoch, right? Which is their homeworld, where they got kicked out of. And I didn't do the right. I didn't make the right choices throughout the trilogy. So at the end of the Rannoch arc in Mass Effect 3, I was confronted by two choices. Destroy the Geth, or allow the Quarians to destroy the Geth, or allow the Geth to upload their advanced code and they'll destroy the Quarians, right? And I sat there, I recall, I sat there for just about an hour contemplating my choices, right? And judging the weight of these two entire species, right? And I chose the Geth, right? And it's crazy because I romanced Tali, right? She's my absolute favorite romance option in Mass Effect. She is a Quarian, you know? But I chose the Geth over her species because I looked at it and I was like, it's not fair. It's not fair at all that you know, the Geth were that everyone wants to destroy the Geth just because they asked the question, does this unit have a soul? You know, like that premise was so scary to everybody that it justified killing them all without even considering if they were alive. Maybe they never even considered that at all either, because to them, life is binary. Either you're organic or you're not, right? But from everything that I had seen, how the Geth had evolved, you know, with Legion, I was like, it's not fair. I can't condemn an entire race to death because of prejudice, essentially, you know? So I ended up choosing the Geth. And when that happened, the Geth destroyed all of the Quarians. And the last Quarians alive, well, it was literally just Tali. And she stood next to you, right? And seeing that happen, her entire race destroyed by the Geth, drove her. She jumped off a cliff and killed herself. And that, I've never, in any game that I've ever played, have ever felt that emotion. Like, I've never felt such weight in any other game that I've ever played like that. So but that's why, like, 3 is so good, so memorable. But, like, I do have to dock it points for that ending. That ending just sucked. But Mass Effect 2, though, is complete. Like, the ending is very good, very satisfying. All of your choices matter in Mass Effect 2, and that's in large part because Mass Effect 2 really is its own self-contained game. Like, you can play Mass Effect 2 without having played any of the other two, and you can still really get enjoyment, get into the game and stuff. So yeah, no, Mass Effect 2 I would say is probably the best out of the 3, but only by a tiny margin, really. I would rank Mass Effect 1 the crappiest Mass Effect in the trilogy, but I would happily play Mass Effect 1 over Andromeda any day. Mass Effect Andromeda sucked. It fucking sucked, dude. And I just, oh man, I couldn't. I guess the second part of that game, right? Are you excited for the next Mass Effect game? Because they did announce that there's another Mass Effect. They've been working on it since 2020. Confidently, I can say nope. I am not excited for the next Mass Effect. Not because I don't like Mass Effect anymore or something like that. I love Mass Effect. The thing is that, like, BioWare as a studio, they have released just absolute flops. Like, all the games they have released since Mass Effect 3 have just sucked nuts. They really have. I mean, so there's Andromeda, first and foremost. Then there is Anthem. Holy shit, Anthem. And then very recently, Dragon Age Veilguard, which was just terrible. The writing was so bad in that game. The gameplay sucked. The graphics were like, what the fuck is this? What is this? You know what I mean? Like, I just, Oh man, I'm not. I can't say that I'm excited because I'm very, very worried actually. I'm very concerned that the next Mass Effect, Mass Effect 4, is gonna be dog water. I hope it's not. I hope it's not. I really, you know what I wish games would do? I wish games would just like, okay, you have the trilogy, right? You told the story, beginning, middle, and end. Just leave it. Just stop making sequels. Stop it. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna run out of like subject matter eventually. That's what's happening to Halo right now. They have like nothing to go with because what Bungie decided to do was just continue off of Halo 3 after the end of the Human Covenant War, and now it's just like they're pulling crap out of their ass. You know what I mean? It just, you know, a bad guy can only get so bad, right? For example, in Mass Effect, you had the Reapers. They're literally a race of god robots that their entire thing is that they harvest all organic life in the galaxy every 10,000 years. And the Reapers have been doing this for eons, since the dawn of time, basically, right? They have been doing this. How do you top that? How could you possibly make, in this context, in this story, right? How could you possibly make a bad guy that tops that? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of it. That's the apex, and that's how it is for a lot of video games and video game stories. If they're not like, if they have a continuity and a narrative, right? Once you beat that big baddie, that's kind of it. You can't really get more bad than that guy. You know what I mean? So, and it's like, that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm worried. Like, they could do something interesting, but I don't know. With how they've been writing games as of late, again, with Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, Dragon Age Veilguard, I'm not very confident in the future of Mass Effect. I'm gonna be real with y'all. So our next question, what are some shows that give you lots of nostalgia? Man, that's a good one. That's a good question. That's a good question. So, oh man, I guess first and foremost, I mean, if we're talking nostalgia factor, probably My Little Pony. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. That just brings me back. It really does. It brings me back. At least that's the one that comes to mind first. You know what I mean? I really, gosh, like, I don't know. I think about it, and I kind of mentioned this just before, but the show just has a really special place in my heart. Just because it was kind of the first online fandom thing that I was in, and a lot of my very first online friends were like bronies and stuff, you know what I mean? I'm fairly certain that the only online community that I ever like really was a part of was the MLP fandom, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm a furry, sure, but like, I never engage with the community. I have like no furry friends. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I'd say I'm a furry, but like, I'm just not really in the community. But like, I always was in the MLP community. You know what I mean? I am proud of that, you know? Well, maybe proud's too heavy of a word, but like, I liked that chapter in my life is what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? And that was because of the show, of course. I guess another one that gives me a good dose of nostalgia, like My Little Pony, would probably be Adventure Time. Yeah, Adventure Time for sure. And that's just because I have a friend, a real life friend, who I'm still really good friends with. And I just recall, like, every day during middle school, you know, we'd watch the new episode, we'd go to school, and then all day that's all we would talk about. Get in trouble with the teachers because we're talking about Adventure Time, and then trying to what's the word, reenact the scenes and shit from from fucking Adventure Time and stuff. And also Adventure Time was just such a fun show to watch, I think. Especially like the first few seasons were just gold. And they're full of so many memes and stuff. And I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or anything like that, but the resurgence of like Jake, out of context Jake, because Jake was so out of pocket, that motherfucker, dude. He was saying whatever. That guy came from the heart. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, Adventure Time was really good. What's another good thing? If there's one thing, I did watch a lot of what's it called, TV when I was a kid. And I guess, it's no surprise why I love 2D animation, because like so much of my childhood and my early years is tied to animation just so pivotedly, So I would say, let me think. Anything, yeah, anything that's like PBS. You know what I'm talking about? Not everything, but like, here, I'm gonna hit you guys with the real one. You ready? Freaking Fetch with Rough Ruffman. God, that was such a good one. And it wasn't necessarily animated, because it was like one of those weird hybrid, like real life and animated things. You know what I mean? But like, come on, Rough Ruffman. He was the face of that show. Really. It was basically like a live action. What do you call it? Game show. It was a game show, is what it was. You guys remember Fetch with Rough Ruffman, right? Or am I that fucking old? Fetch with Rough Ruffman. No, nobody. Okay. Yeah, Fetch with Rough Ruffman. That's a classic. Of course, you've got the others like Martha Speaks. I did like Martha Speaks. I always thought Martha was goofy as fuck. Like her character, as in, Word Girl. Word Girl is another favorite of mine from PBS. Damn, that just like spawned in my head. But because she's like a kind of a parody of a Kryptonian, and I love Superman. You know what I mean? But Word Girl, Word Girl is freaking awesome. Love Word Girl. That one brings back a good bit of nostalgia, I think. I guess moving on to like Cartoon Network, because Cartoon Network I watched a lot of. I wasn't a big Nickelodeon guy, and that's because like during the 2000s, and even a bit later, they stopped doing animated shit. And they were doing like this sort of live action type deal, you know what I mean? So like a lot of 2000s fucking TV shows were just like live action in Nickelodeon anyways. Like for example, you had shit like iCarly, but that's not like animated. But that I guess that is another show that would qualify, that does give me a bit of nostalgia, because I watched the fuck out of iCarly. But Cartoon Network side of things, of course, Adventure Time, I already mentioned that. Regular show, of course. Let me think what else. You know what? Just Cartoon Network was legendary. It was just legendary is what it was. Freaking Codename Kids Next Door, Courage, Samurai Jack, Clone Wars, you know what I mean? Those are some shows that really do hit me with nostalgia. These are the things that I like just grew up with, you know what I mean? God, dude, all of those shows that I mentioned were just bangers. Every single one. Codename Kids Next Door, I just absolutely loved it, and the whole concept they had, the premise was so good, with that kids have this secret global agency, where they make sure that kids are happy and whatever, and then you had the tiers and echelons, the teenagers, the adults, and et cetera, really cool. The Codename Kids Next Door movie, that is legendary, absolutely legendary, dude. Oh my god. Freaking awesome, that movie. Let me think here. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Duh. Honestly, I think I think what does it for me and what does hit me with that nostalgia is that 2000s Hanna-Barbera style. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about, like, you know, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, for example. Those, just that style that they have. I don't know how to explain it, but like you look at it and you're like, yes, that is a thing from freaking 2003. You know what I mean? Let me think. I guess the, like, J.G. Quintel, Penn Ward style is also very nostalgic. You know what I mean? So J.G. Quintel made, he was the director for Regular Show, and Penn Ward was the guy behind Adventure Time. And, you know, for the longest time, I always thought that those two shows were animated by the same people. Like, of course, I knew they were both Cartoon Network, but, like, I thought there was, like, the same dudes behind it. But no, it's two different people. I didn't find that out till, like, a couple years ago, which, like, blew my mind, I guess, back then. But, let me think here. I guess, well, and I mean, I guess it makes sense that I thought they were both the same people, because they no doubt, like, undoubtedly, is that a word? They undoubtedly, like, probably influenced each other, because they worked together on Flapjack. So I'm pretty sure, because, and also Adventure Time and Regular Show were airing at the same time, so I'm sure they'd probably cross paths in the hallways and would exchange ideas or whatever. Excuse me. Let me think here. Yeah, I guess it's just those art styles that really do hit me from those shows. I see them and they would, like, make me cry or something. I suppose like tweening, the arts, or, well, the animation style of tweening or digital puppetry does, like, make me nostalgic, because of PBS shows and My Little Pony, because almost, like, a good vast majority of PBS shows were tweened, and then My Little Pony was also tweened. So I see that and I just think, like, yeah, damn, 2004, bro. Oh man, you know, I don't really know if tweening is all that prominent anymore in shows, because so many shows that I see nowadays are like 3D CGI, you know, like 3D animated. So I don't I'm trying to think, but, like, so many shows that I see these days are just 3D animated. So I wonder if that style is even prominent. I know that it's, like, prominent on, like, online indie stuff, and that's just because tweening is, like, you know, why am I losing track here? What the anyways, but yeah, no, I just know that style is pretty prominent, and yeah, so I guess those are some classic shows that I really do enjoy. So Soph asks, favorite Radiohead song / album? Ooh, that's a good question. These are all good questions, honestly. But I suppose, well, it's really hard for me to pick. Radiohead is one of those bands that, like, I feel like they're pretty legendary, in my opinion. But what comes to mind immediately is probably Jigsaw's Falling Into Place. Really like that song. I've been listening to it a lot recently, because of things and stuff, and it's really good. It's really good, that song. Another one. Well, I guess just generally speaking, my favorite Radiohead songs, Sail to the Moon is really good. Karma Police. 2 + 2 = 5. That one's a good one. And Man of War. I think Man of War is a good one too. I don't know, just see, when I think of Radiohead, you say Radiohead, those songs that I listed are the ones that like pop in my head immediately. You know what I mean? So it's like I guess those songs kind of like define Radiohead for me, their style and everything, right? As far as albums go, well, my two, I guess it would be a battle between In Rainbows or Hail to the Thief, honestly, for me. OK Computer is good. I like it. I'd probably put that in third, honestly. But yeah, those are my favorites, at least when it comes to Radiohead. And finally, what are your thoughts on Reincarnation? Asked by Jake the guy. I love that username. It's like, it reminds me of like Finn the Human. You know, human guy, dude guy. I guess, are we talking about like the Buddhist like definition of reincarnation, or are we talking about like just the concept of reincarnation? Just the concept, you know what I mean? Because like I guess we'll talk about them both. I guess the concept, or well, the Buddhist definition of reincarnation is cool. I mean, I like the idea. I feel like it's fair, and it makes sense that depending on the deeds that you did during your life will determine what you reincarnate as. That makes sense to me. And that's fair, you know what I mean? Because like I do believe in karma. Like I'm not a superstitious person, right? But I do believe in karma. I think like you reap what you sow, right? You make your bed, you sleep in it. So yeah, I think that it just makes sense to me, like it's conceptually sound, you know. But as a concept, I mean, I mean, it's deep, but I guess it's not all that for me personally. You know what I mean? If we just like end up being recycled into other humans, you know what I mean? But then like we have no memories of our past lives or whatever. Actually, do you guys know about that story? And I don't know if it's real or not. It probably isn't, because it's probably one of those things that aired on History Channel at like freaking midnight, right? But the story about like how apparently there was some kid who like had the memories of this one woman's dead brother or something. You know what I mean? Oh gosh, I forget what that whole case was, but there is that case. Not that I think it has really any merit, if you ask me, because like that definitely sounds like some conspiracy theory type shit. But as a concept, I guess it's cool, but like I wouldn't care for it, to be honest. Like my ideal afterlife would be like if it all just ended, you know what I mean? Not to sound like a doomer or anything, right? But like, I don't know, just I'm a very like one and done kind of guy, you get me? Like, and I don't like the pressure of like, you know, oh, that there is an eternal afterlife, and that like, you know, everything you do in this life is going to determine how you live in the other. And it's like, it feels like I'm working for retirement twice, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think when I die, I would like it to just be like sleep, you know. It's just darkness, it's empty, there's just nothing there, you know what I mean? Because I think I'm also of the opinion that like I feel like if you like, even if it was good, say the afterlife was just like this empty vast expanse, And in this expanse, you could do like anything and everything that you've always wanted. You could have anything, you can do anything. It's absolute paradise, right? I feel like even then, you just get bored. You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be a point where you'll get everything you want. And then some. And then what? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'd be chill with that, maybe not. An eternity is a long time, you know what I mean? Like, it's literally forever. So it's like, I feel like anyone would kind of lose their mind at that point, I feel. So, I don't know. I think I just kind of like the idea that there is no afterlife and everything's just kind of dark. You sleep forever, you know what I mean? That's what I like to think. And again, not to be a doomer or like an atheist or whatever the hell, you know what I mean? But like, you know, that's personally what I would like. I just don't want to go to bed. I want to go sleep. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Well, that's all the questions I've got. I hope you guys enjoyed just watching me blabber on. And if you'd like to have your question featured on the next episode of Speaking Easy, feel free to join the Discord and throw your questions in there, and I'll just kind of pick and choose what I want to talk about, you know? But anyways, without further ado, thanks for watching, and take care.